Wandering the streets of Enigma, you might see any number of ragged, disheveled, lost wanderers hunched and huddled along the streets, covered in dust and with their cloaks over their heads. But if you looked closely at one in particular, you might notice two unusual things. One, she wears the clothes of a cleric of the Church of the Closed Circuit, battered and worn, but unmistakable. And just behind her in the alley, standing guard, is a tall, black, skeletal combat bot with a plasma rifle, watching over her. Just another lost wayfarer? Or someone else entirely? Hello, and welcome back. I'm Royce Rosewood, your host and storyteller, and this is, of course, Gone Solo Starforged. We are following the adventures of Zakia Vian, a cleric of the Church of the Closed Circuit. In our last episode, having just retrieved the crown of Empyrean, an ancient and fabled relic, Zakia headed back to Enigma. She went to the power plant to touch base with Florian and was able to recover a little bit of her spirit. She talked to the trapped apparition that powers all of Enigma, and having endured knowledge, so to speak, was able to communicate with it, learning that the gods are actual physical beings that walk amongst the stars of the Forge, and that this spirit was the former god of this planet, a formerly lush and fertile world called Feronia, which was also the name of the spirit. And Zakia vowed to seek divine aid, find the help of some other gods to help return this planet to its former lush state. On her way out, however, all the relic hunters that she had broken her vow to were hounding her through the streets, and after a rooftop chase, she unfortunately had to give up the crown of Empyrean and had lost it, but immediately swore to regain it. So, which of these two vows is she going to pursue? I don't know. Seems like they're taking us in kind of two different directions. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is, we're down at 1 health. We are down at 1 supply. Scorpio's damaged. Our spirit is still not maxed out. And I'm wondering about this preacher, Asha Volkov, our original contact here. Originally, it seemed like he wasn't going to be able to support, or was unable or unwilling to support Zakia and her needs as a cleric, being sort of underfunded and undersupplied out here in the Outlands, where the church only reaches, very, very slightly. But I'm wondering if that Zakia, now that she has seen and held in her hands the crown of Empyrean, this fabled relic, if that might change things between her and Volkov. So, beaten, bedraggled, having lost almost everything, Scorpio's kind of sparking with some damage on his chassis. They head back through the streets. I think the relic hunters, some of them might see her and stop her and give her a hard time, but I think maybe now word has spread that the crown has been retrieved and somebody else has got it. So anybody else who wanted it is now after them instead. So she heads back to the church, sort of a tucked away building. And remember, all of this is under a dome. She goes and walks into the church, and it's quiet and serene, and it's sort of lined with pews that are also workbenches. This is a place where people come to repair things. Asha Volkov is here, turns around and says, "Ugh, you don't look very good." Zakia kind of smiles to herself and says, I know. Asha says, "I hope you aren't needing assistance, because as I tried to make clear at our last meeting, there's not very much I can do to help you." Zakia says, "I know. But I've held the crown of Empyrean. I found it. I went out into the ruins. I held it in my hand. I passed all the tests. It's real. It's a real, actual, physical object. It's not a legend. Unfortunately, I lost it. It slipped out of my hands. And I just thought you might want to know if that would be interesting to you. So the question is that interesting to Asha? Is that enough to change sort of the nature of their relationship? I'm going to call that likely, as he is a preacher of the Church of Empyrean and finding out that, an ancient thing that you thought might be a legend is actually real. We'll call that likely. So 75 or less, this changes things between them. 96. Nope. So my question is then, why? And I think at this point, I want to roll a revealed aspect on Asha. 73 is reclusive. Give us one more. 28. Dangerous. Ooh. And Asha says, why should I care about the trappings and the vestiges of our decadent and declining church? I've been out here on this dead planet for too long by myself. And I've plunged into other secrets, deeper secrets, seeking the true power of the gods. You would tremble at the very glimpse of the things that I have found. This is not where I thought this was going to go. The question is, rolling dangerous, does this turn into a combat? And, Zakia at this point cannot afford any more losses. Like, we are on the brink of really bad things happening. So, I think she's just going to get out of it. She's going to apologize, put her hands up, say, anymore, I won't bother you anymore. I'll leave you to your investigations of whatever they are, and you will not see me again. We'll call this space danger. I feel like there's a risk of danger here. She's going to roll plus heart to see if she can get out of this situation without further angering Asha. All right, that's 2 plus 2 against a 10 and a 1 is a weak hit. On a weak hit, you succeed, but not without a cost. Make a suffer move -1. Well, I think we're going to call that a minus spirit. Loss of spirit. She was going to this place where she thought, she would be able to recuperate and resupply with this new information and recover her health. But instead, she's discouraged, and also discouraged that, one of her own, a member of her own church, has, turned to some sort of secret cult or something, backs away. Disheartened, Asha does not attack, but just sort of scowls at her. And she and Scorpio leave the church and are not going to come back here. I feel like we've exhausted our options here in Enigma. In the previous episode, we tried to sojourn with Florian, but he was busy. I sort of rolled that into, how much can we, get from him? And it was a weak hit and it wasn't a lot. And so I'm not going to roll again on that, not without circumstances having changed. So what I think this means is we are leaving Enigma. We are going to go someplace else. We got to heal up before we make our next move. I mentioned previously that she does have a starship. We haven't used it yet, but she's had it this whole time. It was given to her by the church, for her to be able to go out and do her ministry and do her repairs out here in the Outlands. It is called the Silicon Hawk, and it was one of the things we rolled about it is that it previously had suffered a hull breach, but has been repaired, which makes sense to me for an order of people who repair things and fix things up. It's something that's, I'm imagining, has been repaired and replaced over and over again, generations after generations. They just kind of keep it working. They don't dispose, they repair. She gets to her starship, and we are heading out. The question is, where are we going to go? Well, let me show you the sector map that we have rolled up. This is something I rolled up, way back, before the first session. And so we've been on Enigma, this desert world, and there are two other places. There is, what is this? There's an ice world over here with a settlement called Argosy, is spirituality and archaeology. So I was imagining that was sort of, maybe a larger hub. Maybe the church has a larger presence there, and that was maybe sort of an outpost where she stopped on the way in before going out to Enigma. And then there's over here, there's a deep space post, space station called Vega, which is automation and defense. So I assume they make, they probably make something combat bots like Scorpio. So I think we're going to head back to Argosy, to whatever her post was there, whoever her contact was there, and try to heal up and recover before we make our next move. We still have to make a move. We're going to set a course. All right, when you follow a known route through perilous space, across hazardous terrain, or within a mysterious site, roll plus supply. Well, supply is not great, but this is just where we're at. We're just going to have to see what happens. All right, so it's going to be +1. Just hoping for a good lucky roll here. All right, 2 + 1 is 3 against a 9 and a 1 is a weak hit. On a weak hit, you arrive but face a cost or complication. Choose one. Suffer costs en route, make suffer move, or 2 suffer moves. Face a complication at the destination. Envision what you encounter. Okay, well, I think we're going to take the complication because we, take our spaceship and we use our, I think it's called an E-drive, and we, speed through space. And this is a known route, so there's no, difficulty getting there. And we've already run it the opposite way, presumably in the fiction, right? So we're coming back and we're arriving at Argosy. And we know it is a place of spirituality and archaeology. So I imagine that there might be, similar to Enigma, ruins that get uncovered out in the ice. And with spirituality, I'm going to assume that the church, the closed circuit, has a presence here, maybe a larger presence than it has in Enigma, but there might be other churches, other religions that also have a presence here. This is maybe like sort of a shared spiritual site for whatever reason, this ice planet. We already know that there's a marginal atmosphere and scarce life. So since this is the first time we've been here in the fiction, let's do a couple extra rolls, things that we observe from space. All right, 70. Vibrantly colored ice. Oh, that's very interesting. So I think maybe that's what makes this place such an attractive place. So they come out of the E-warp, E-drive, whatever, portal, or however this thing works. Whatever, we're moving through space. And we come out and we see this ice world, but it's not just, white and blue. There's tinges of pink and, kind of golden yellow and purple, and just whole swirl all over the planet. There's these different patches of these different colored ices. And so it's this sort of beautiful rainbow world. She's been here before, and she knows the settlement of Argosy. And so she contacts and flies in. Argosy as a settlement is much larger than Enigma. So Enigma, the population is in the thousands. Argosy, the population is in the tens of thousands. So, let's roll on a planet side feature. So as we swoop in, we also see 53 rocky islands amid icy wastes. Amidst all these, colored ice, there are places of rock, jutting rock that, stick out of the ice. And I think Argosy is based on one of these, right? It's on this, one of the larger rocky islands. And so as they come in, these settlements are, you can see, buildings and structures, and with a marginal atmosphere, this also would have to have some sort of containment. but instead of maybe a dome, maybe it's all just contained, just sort of like interior buildings, like you might imagine like an Antarctic, outpost, but it's just city size, it's all these just interconnected buildings with passageways. Makes her landing port. Obviously, we have some sort of church contact here. So our contact here is named, let's see, 15, Azriel, 27, Tolari. So we sort of established a little bit of a hierarchy, right, where Asha on Enigma had the role of preacher, and that was just something we randomly rolled, and that's where I sort of came up with the idea of this hierarchy between preachers and clerics. Well, let me ask. I don't know. Is Azriel also a cleric, or is some other rank? 50-50, I don't know. So is Azriel also a cleric? 45, yes. And presumably we've met Azriel before, and what was our impression previously? Let's roll on this table. All right. 13, alluring. Oh my. And 63, scarred. Ooh. Zakia makes her way through the tunnels and corridors of Argosy and makes her way to the church, which by comparison to the Church of Enigma is much larger. There's more activity. There's, more preachers and acolytes. But still kind of, workshop, people are repairing things. There's definitely more activity here. And the, acolytes are helping people with their repairs, etc. Zakia kind of stumbles in, right? She's still in really bad shape. Azriel is, right, alluring and scarred. So I think, quite beautiful, long hair. Maybe her scars are, along her arms and legs, so, she's wearing her robes, but, kind of peeking out at you can see this sort of scar tissue and maybe at the ankles as well. Azriel says, "Oh, okay, so you've had a hard time on Enigma. All right, come in, sister. Let's get you rested, and let's get you healed up." And takes Zakia out to the back where there's sort of rooms for clerics to heal. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to do a bunch of moves, and then we're going to figure out what the settlement trouble is. So we're going to take some time to heal. So we're going to use the heal move. We're going to heal ourselves, rolling plus wits. 5 plus 3 is 8, which is a strong hit against a 4 and a 2. The care is helpful. If you are wounded, we are not. Otherwise, take or give plus 3 health. Okay. So that works out. So maybe over the course of the next coming days, Zakia, stays in her room, recovering. And she's still not all the way back up, but she's, she's much better than she was. She's taken a beating in Enigma, and so taking some time to heal. And also during this time, she is, connecting with not only, what's her name? Azriel, but also the, other members of her church. So we'll call that Harton. All right, 4 plus 2 is 6, which is a weak hit against a 9 and a 5. On a weak hit, as above, but this indulgence is fleeting, a vision, an interruption, complication, or inner conflict. Then lose momentum. Okay. Otherwise, take plus 2 spirit. Okay, great. Almost all the way back up. In this time where she's recovering in her room, she does have a chance to talk to Azriel and says, I have so much to tell you. First of all, the crown of Imperion is real. I had it. I held it in my hands. It slipped through my grasp. I'm going to go get it back. But it's going to take some time for me to track that down. But also, the preacher on Enigma, Asha Volkov, has fallen into some sort of cult or heresy. And I'm not sure what to think of that. And Azrael sort of doesn't provide all the comfort that Zakia would need. She sort of nods as if she kind of knows what's going on, sort of understands, but doesn't provide any kind of further comfort, and sort of maybe hints at, some divisions and sort of political things going on in the larger church that Zakia was not aware of. And this bothers Zakia. This is, she's young. This is sort of her first kind of assignment, and, she's, full of the, devotion and commitment. And this is sort of the first time that she's starting to see some cracks within this organization that she's called her home for so long, and that bothers her. All right, we're going to resupply for sure. We are scavenging, crafting. Going to roll plus wits. All right, 5 plus 3 is 8 against a 6 and a 10 on a weak hit as above, but you must first deal with a cost, complication, or demand. Envision the nature of the obstacle. So we can't take plus 2 supply yet until we deal with this other thing. And then in the meantime, we're going to try to repair Scorpio. So that's plus wits, and we are at a facility. So that's 6 plus 3 is 9. That's a strong hit against a 6 and an 8. All right, so we are fixing up Scorpio. We're using the materials available at the church. And we're able to fix Scorpio up as well. And then another thing that I want to do is, because we do have a little bit of experience to spend, we do have 2 points of experience, and that means we can take one advancement. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to, and that costs 2 points. So we're going to take those 2 points, and we're going to take this advancement that says, once per fight, when you react under fire by using the bot to draw fire or create a diversion, roll plus its health. On a strong hit, mark progress. On a weak hit, face the cost as normal, but then you are in control. So having been in some combats already with Scorpio and sort of seeing, originally she was resistant to having his help, but I think at this point she is welcoming his help. She's making some repairs and modifications and maybe putting in some extra armor, and to be able to do kind of like this new technique that's going to help in the combats. Armor, maybe sort of reflective plating that might be able to bounce off things, bounce them back towards the target. We said we were going to face a complication when we were here, and there's something that's getting in the way of us being able to resupply. So let's roll on our Oracle to see what the settlement trouble is. 37. Hazardous environment. Well, for sure. She's healing up. She's taking heart where she can. But she's not able to kind of fully resupply her, machines and her fuel. Azrael says, well, yes, it's hard to get supplies out here. We're in the Outlands, but I have heard of, there was a crash recently, not too far out in the ice, and no one's been able to take advantage of it. But I've been wanting to send someone out to go and recover those supplies and see. I would have gone myself, but I've been busy here taking care of other things at the church. But you, a cleric, I trust and believe in your ability to go take out and do this. We could appreciate the extra help. You'll be able to resupply, and you'll help out the church in the meantime. Zakia Vian is going to swear to do this. We'll call this a troublesome vow. All right, we swear an iron vow. Oh, if you swear this vow to a connection, add +1. I don't think I've been doing that. I think I've been forgetting that. All right, so let's heart +2 plus an extra 1, swearing to a connection. That's 5. +3 is 8. Against a 2 and a 5 is a strong hit. You are emboldened, and it is clear what you must do next. Take +2 momentum. Great. All right, she's going to retrieve supplies for the Argosy Church. We will stop there. Thanks so much for following along. If you're enjoying this, please like, subscribe, and share. I really appreciate it. This is Science Fantasy Awesome, and you are awesome.